welcome everyone to the Photo Styling Masterclass. Amanda and I are really excited today to show you how to create a winning portfolio. So to introduce your speakers, my name is Anna Coburn. If you've not met me before, I've worked at House for over 8.5 years, and I manage our UK, Irish and German account manager teams. And our role on the account manager side is to provide our clients who are on the ultimate package, make the most out of their subscriptions. And then also I'll introduce you to Amanda, who is part of our editorial team here at House.
Hi everyone. So the editorial team is responsible for producing articles in the story section of the website. And if you don't know what that section is, it works just like an online magazine. And we write articles on all aspects of renovating and decorating a home, as well as stories on gardens and gardening. And some of the most popular types of articles in the magazine are the house and room tours, where we showcase beautiful projects by professionals on house and interview the pro to find out how the project was created. And you'll also find on the site TV episodes with a similar format.
If you haven't watched any House TV episodes, I 100% recommend them. They're very, very good. So yeah, do check those out. So before we get started today, we're going to launch a very quick poll. So Amanda's going to set that off, and we want to ask you, what do you think is your biggest challenge right now when it comes to getting good photos of your work? So I'll give you a few moments to answer that. We want your honest response, and you can only choose one. So please go ahead with what you think is your biggest drawback, the number one biggest drawback you're facing right now. Hopefully the poll is coming up for everyone. Let me know in the chat if you don't see it. Okay. So moving on to our agenda. So key to our stories are great photographs, the stories that we have on House, and the editorial team spends a lot of time browsing through the millions of photos uploaded to House in order to illustrate their stories. So with our experience, we're going to share some insights about what makes a great photograph, some tips from a professional photographer that you can use, and then also, quite importantly, how you can get your work featured in the House online magazine. And Amanda, have you got the results to the poll there?
Yep, let's get it up. Hang on. So, okay, right. So it looks like the main drawback is budget, which is really interesting. So hopefully we're going to cover some tips to help you to address this issue.
Yeah, for sure. And then also interesting skills and knowledge has a fair few votes as well. So yeah, we should be able to cover quite a few of these things today. All right. So let's get started.
Okay, so let's start by looking at why photos are important for your business. Right, so well, firstly, they can display your skills. A photograph can visually show the world what your business is capable of. It can show off your craftsmanship and skill in a much more effective way than words can. This photo, for example, can tell the viewer a lot about this joinery business. We know the business can build extremely practical storage using good quality wood. The cabinet is unusual in design, requiring a lot of skill. And the pull-out drawer is holding a few large vases, so we also know that it's sturdy. And lastly, the finish is beautiful. There's an attractive relief on the lower drawer, and we can see other details in the background. So we found out a hell of a lot just from that one image.
Absolutely. They'll also help you connect with the right clients, which is kind of what it's all about. So when a potential client is looking for a renovation professional, a great set of photographs will help them immediately get an idea if you're a good fit for them and if they're a good fit for you. And they can see the type of projects you work on, the style of these projects, and of course, the skills that you offer.
And finally, they'll provide you with marketing materials. So once you have a set of stunning photographs of your work, you can use these over and over again for various marketing channels. You can display them on your website and on your house profile. You can post them on social media. and you can use them to pitch projects to be featured in editorial. Now, some magazines will want to shoot their own photographs, but a set of good photos will help you to pitch the project. And others, such as the House Online magazine, will use the photos you have provided.
So before you take any photographs, it's really useful to think about the messages you want to convey about your business, which Amanda kind of drawed on in the slide before. So consider these 3 areas, which will help you focus on your story that you want to project about your business and through the projects that you do. So your expertise. Photos can really show off your skills. So before you plan your photo shoot, make a list of the workmanship you want known. Is there some clever joinery you want to highlight, a design or architectural detail that's particularly important, or even a specific choice of color and the pattern that's going to illustrate the design expertise that a client would be getting from you?
And secondly, your aesthetic. Do the style of your projects match the taste of your target audience? And as we said earlier, a potential client can instantly see this through your photos. So think about this when you're planning your photo shoot.
And then lastly, the lifestyle you can offer your clients. And this is actually very, very key, because when a homeowner is planning a renovation, they're picturing themselves living in the space. So they're dreaming of an aspirational lifestyle, whether this is a welcoming family home, a space to have parties and socialize, or everything in between. This is where styling will really come in to its own as well. So think about how you can use your photos to turn a practical design into a vision of your customer's dream lifestyle.
Now, you're probably wondering whether it's worth paying for a professional photographer or whether you should take the shots yourself. So in this section, we'll look at the benefits of hiring a pro and also give you some tips on how to work with a photographer if you do choose to do so.
So if you have the budget, it is worth investing in good photography. So Lauren, I think in the chat here said that, some professional photographers can be really quite expensive. So I think it really does depend. And that I know that some photography can range from, £200 and upwards. So, find a photographer that, suits your budget, but they are out there. So you can also hire a photographer via House, the same way that a homeowner would choose to hire you. And the initial costs could really pay for themselves quite quickly. So obviously it is a bit of an outlay, but you're able to use these images again and again, and it represents your business the most accurately. So here are just 4 reasons about why, it could be a good idea to hire a photographer. So number 1, they have the skill and the expertise to achieve good results. They'll know why they're shooting something, how to shoot it, how to solve any problems that come up on the shoot. Also, they have the equipment to take a fantastic shot. So they've got cameras, the lenses, the lighting, and everything. And then also they'll save you a lot of time. So a photo shoot takes time, so does the editing afterwards, and a photographer can take care of this while you get on with your proper job, what you do best. So here's an example of the difference between amateur shots and a professional shot. So hopefully you can instantly see the difference between the two. So we have the amateur shot on the left here and the professional shot. And we're going to go through later on in the webinar, how you would style it, how you get a good composition of a shot.
So Anna Sataki is one of the many interior design photographers you can hire through House, and she's a really popular photographer among professionals on the website. She takes beautiful photos and she's apparently really fantastic to work with. So I asked her for her tips on working with a professional photographer, and she said the following. So firstly, inform the photographer of what you would like to use images for. Read the terms and conditions on the quote or contract and ask questions. This is really important because the contract will stipulate where and how you can use the photographs, as well as how to credit the photographer. Secondly, she says, think of the space and what shots you would like roughly to have done. Think how you would like to style it, and if the location is missing anything that you will need to bring on the day. Bring some props with you. It's better that you have more and not use them than having less. And finally, Get the space as tidy and clean as possible. This will make the shoot run a lot quicker because you won't be tidying up beforehand. And of course, you'll be less likely to see any imperfections in the finished photos.
Yeah, there is nothing worse than, having a really beautiful shot, say of a kitchen in particular. I find I see this quite a lot when I'm, looking through accounts, and there's a cable that's strewn across, or, not quite tidied away. So that's really, really important. So it's a really good idea to plan ahead for your photo shoot by listing the types of shots that you'd like your photographer to take or yourself to take, if you're going it alone. So the shots that you want to get are really key for editorial purposes, because there's a number of different shots that will cover the order and the flow of your project, and it will help us tell the correct story. So firstly, it's really important to have what I'm calling a hero shot. So this is a wide shot of the whole space. So you can see here, you don't have to take it from every single angle, but just choose 2 or 3 angles that you think shows off the rooms to the best. And, you can see everything in the room pretty much. And then secondly, we have the flow shot. So as it sounds, these images illustrate how the whole space comes together, how the spaces flow together, how a scheme has been designed to be cohesive, and they'll give the viewer a broader idea of the layout and how the whole home harmonizes together.
Okay, so the next type of shot you need is the vignette. And these are the photos that showcase the details of the room, and they're an opportunity to display the thoughtfulness of your design. When you're planning these shots, it's a good idea to ensure the details are shown in context with the rest of the space. So rather than a shot of one cushion, move out slightly to show the rest of that smaller area. And the fourth type of photo to have on your shoot list is the functionality shot. These images show how your skill can offer practical solutions for your client. And a really clever way to do this is how they've done it in this shot, where they've shot a carousel of images and that show the item in use. And finally, and probably most importantly, is the lifestyle shot. These images are how you can give the viewer an idea of how they might feel living in their new home. An open book or a throw laid over a sofa are great ways to do this. Also, pets and people work really well to make the home feel lived in.
I will say from experience, if you can get a dog or a cat in a photo, it does get saved quite a few times.
Very true. And stories about dogs and cats in homes are really, really popular.
Okay. So moving on into the photography tips. So in this section, we're going to look at the fundamentals of taking a good interior photograph. So Christine, to answer your question in the chat here about garden photography, I don't think we've got like specific examples of gardens per se, but the same fundamentals will apply, and you'll see those coming through as we talk about them.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually. So, for example, the shoot list for a garden would be very similar to an interior shot. So you need to look at the whole garden, and then you need to take the viewer on a journey basically around your garden, and then some details, but in situ with the whole garden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so same principles. Yeah.
Yeah, same rules apply. Thanks for mentioning that, Amanda. Okay, so common photo mistakes and how to avoid them. So there are 3 main things that Amanda and the editorial team will notice that come up time and time again when they're finding photos to feature. And my team and we work closely with Amanda, and we're always suggesting projects to be featured, projects that are interesting, projects that are born on house. But sometimes they can't be featured because of poor photography, which is such a shame. And we don't want that to hold you back. So we're going to go through those common mistakes now.
Okay, so can you take a look at this photograph and see if you can think of what would make it better? You can just think about it to yourself, or better would be if you put your answers on the chat. So just give you a few minutes to have a think what you think could improve the photograph. Anybody got any ideas?
Got a few coming in.
Okay, some good answers yet.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like a lot of people have got the right answer here. The lighting, yes. It's always better to take photos with the lights off and using natural daylight. And this is because indoor lights can give the space an orangey glow and paradoxically make the space look darker.
And you wouldn't think that putting the lights on, because you put the bright lights on, they've got the down lights on, but it gives it that orangey feel we don't like. Some of you are also putting in some correct answers too, but we're going to be covering those as different mistakes. But yes, some of them that we've not talked about so far, those are still correct, but we're focusing on the lights on this one.
Yeah, and so here's what Anna Stathaki says. She says lights off is usually better as the colours are more true and the textures look better.
Paul, you mentioned here it's not good for you as a smart lighting company. Have no fear. We have a tip for the lighting designers and smart home specialists, so don't worry about that.
So here's an example where the lights have been turned off and the natural light is making the colours look really crisp and clean, and you can really see the colours popping out. Okay, so addressing your question, Paul, if you did need to show the lights on because you wanted to show the functionality of the lighting, and perhaps you are a lighting designer yourself, the best way to do this is when there is a lot of natural light to minimise the orange glow. So this example is really good. They've taken the same photo, one with the lights on and once with the lights off.
Yeah, you can see the difference there. Also, it does depend if you're, taking photos of the lighting and you want to make sure it's really dark and that is the point of the photo, then obviously still do that type of photo. But also you want to get your bright natural light images in to show kind of the day and the night time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at another common mistake. So different mistake here. Have a think about what you think you could improve about this photo, and please put your answer in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Get some answers coming in.
Yeah, good answers coming in.
Okay, so I think it looks like everyone's getting that right. So yes, a better composition. So yes, the lights are on in this one, which we don't like, but it is the composition. So the photos has been taken from a really awkward angle and it's just not very pleasing to the eye. As you all mentioned, the angle seems off. So Anna says straight on shots are cleaner, easier to read and are more graphic. So here's a great example of a well-composed shot. So the camera has been aligned straight on. It's even been moved down to the eye level. And the image has also been framed with the fireplace on one side and the door on the other. So we have a really, really nice, well-balanced photo. So Anna says that a good photographer can achieve a great angled shot if they know what they're doing. So here's an example. Although the shot is slightly angled, it's still balanced and framed. I think that's the key thing here, is having balance in your photo that makes it pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. And just coming back to the garden question again on this one, the same principles apply. So try to, when you're taking a photo of the garden, bring the camera down lower and straight on is much better. Don't be tempted to go up to an upstairs window and take the garden from above or anything like that. Okay, what's missing here? Any ideas?
Okay, got a few coming through now. A
Nice.
lot
Love
of
that.
missing. She said a lot, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
great. So yes, the space looks empty and it could do with some props. And this would have helped to convey a lifestyle so that the viewer can imagine themselves living in the home.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it is a nice space. It's clean, it's tidy, but it looks stark, clinical, and we're missing that lived-in feel, that lifestyle feel.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really nice project, but it's just missing that homely feel.
Yeah, we had the context as well that Mary's written here, I think is a really good point.
Yeah. So Anna says that the image should have a good balance of colour, textures and shapes, but it should not have props that draw the eye away from the overall composition. So she suggests flowers in a nice shaped vase, plants and good art. And here she's achieved that with some really well chosen accessories, which they add colour and texture to the room, but they don't take attention away from the overall space.
Yeah, I think that's done really, really well here because it's a white kitchen. It could look very stark, but those little subtle pops of color and seeing the lifestyle again, the context, what we've been talking about. Okay. So with the points we just discussed, we're now going to talk you through, we're now going to look at some great photographs, and we hope that you can see what is good about them and you can pinpoint it. So we'll want some answers in the chat. So have a look at this photograph and see if you can spot what makes the shot work well. Okay, so we've got balance.
Styling, yeah.
Styling, texture and tone. Yeah, absolutely. So it's composed well. It's framed really, really nicely. There are props that add color and texture and the lifestyle, such as the open books. And then lastly, as well, we've got the props that add, the interest to the image.
Okay, let's take a look at another photo. What do you think is working well here? The shoes, yeah.
Yes, the shoes.
Lifestyle, yeah. Okay, yeah, so, oh, here we go, scenery. Yeah, the scenery is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, stunning.
Okay, so, right, yeah, so it's actually quite a dark, like there's not a lot of natural light coming in, even though there's a view, but they haven't been tempted to put the lights on. And so it's given the space a really lovely, soft, natural light. Also, someone said the camera has been lowered to give the shot a really nice composition, and yet you do feel like you're in the room. And the props have been added, which make it feel really lived in, and they've added some colour and texture.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this shot. Great view as well. I wish I could be sitting in that chair.
Yeah.
Okay, so last photo here. What's good about this shot?
Stylish, authentic, yeah.
Functionality, real life, but feels organized.
Yeah, that's a good word, actually, solutions. It's given the viewer solutions, isn't it?
Yeah, just enough clutter, looks pleasingly functional. It's a really nice way to describe it. Okay, perfect. So I think we're all spot on. We're all getting really good at this. So the wooden shells and the functional pull-out baskets. So the photo really shows the skill and the craftsmanship of the pro. The props are also very useful as they show us the functionality and show the cabinetry in action. And also the props are well chosen for their color. They really tone in with the green, and that really makes the shot sing for me. So it's stylish as well as being functional. It's still cohesive, but shows a lifestyle.
Yeah, I think this is a really beautiful shot, actually. The choice of colours with the accessories really show off that lovely green.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of green.
Right, so our final section looks at how you can get your photos featured in the House online magazine. Now, so here are the key things we need for our house and room tours. And so it's worth taking note of these when you're preparing your shoot list. So for a full house, we need 10 or more photos. And of these, we're looking for at least one photo of each of the main rooms. So that's the kitchen, the bedroom, the living room, and the bathroom. And for a room tour, we're looking for at least 6 photos of the room, showing the whole space, different parts of the space, and the smaller details. And we also feature images in regular articles. And for these, we're looking for well-styled photos that show off a particular design aspect that the story is covering, such as like a color trend or a storage solution or something like that.
And then for our house and room tour articles, we're also looking for these key things. So the most obvious is beautiful projects that you all have. And that's really the really most important thing as well. We want projects where the reader can take ideas and be inspired. We also love to showcase projects where the pro has used the House Pro tools. It's not a necessity, but it is a big focus for us, so a big plus for you if you are using it. We also need to have permission from the homeowner and the photographer to feature the story in editorials. So please make sure you get that as well. So as discussed previously, we find a lot of projects ourselves by browsing through photos, but we're really keen to receive recommendations and for you to put yourself forward. So if you have a client support manager, please do contact them and they can help you, submit this editorial, or you can contact ukeditor@house.com and submit it there. Okay, so that's a key email address for you.
Okay, just another couple of other things that are really good to include. One of these is the before and after shots, which they can really show off the impact of your work, and they're incredibly popular with readers of the House magazine.
I personally love a before and after shot as an avid reader of the magazine. Nothing brings me more joy than seeing a transformation. And I actually can't believe this is the same project. It's the same space, right, Amanda?
Yes, and it's even taken at the same angle, which is really great because you can really see the difference between the before space and the after.
Yeah, that is a really great point. Yeah.
Okay, and something else to include that readers and potential clients really love to see are how you completed the project. So feel free to include floor plans, mood boards, and renders in your project profile, and as they're all useful for building a complete picture of the project. And of course, House Pro have some great tools for all of these. So if you're not already using them, I'd recommend checking them out.
Yes, so do I. I recommend it too. Okay, so before we wrap up and go into some questions and answers, I think let's go back to the poll that we launched at the start of the webinar. So yes, the majority of you thought that, I think it's changed. I think a few more people have come in. Okay, yeah, so a few more people have come in and voted. So skills and knowledge is now the top of what people feel was holding them back before. And then second to that is budget. So hopefully now, I mean, if you've learned something from the webinar, you can see ways in which you can alleviate that problem. So when it comes to skills and knowledge, hopefully you understand how to plan a photo shoot, the key shots you need to take, asking yourself, what shots are they? Not just like the hero shot, the flow shot, but also what do I want to show? Am I really keen to show the lighting? Am I really keen to show my workmanship? And then how to take those shots well, and have your business being represented to the standard that you want it to be seen as. Okay. And then I think as well with the budget one, so as that was the second most, hopefully you can see the value of hiring a photographer. So they can eliminate, all those potential issues, but specifically they have the equipment, they have all the gear and the idea, and they can get you the shots that your business needs, rather. And also different photographers have different price points, so don't be put off. If you have an account manager at House, you can contact them if they have any recommendations, but just do your research. We have a load of photographers in the directory, and you'll be able to find one that suits your budget and your business needs. So yeah, that is the end of the workshop of what we've prepared to go through, but I'd love to go through some questions. So if you have any questions, now is the time to do it before we end today. I think, have we got anything in the chat already, Amanda?
Well, Katie's suggested, which is a really good point, to make sure you get some personal branding photos of yourself in the space if possible, which is a really good idea.
Oh, I completely agree. Thank you, Katie, for bringing that up. We do find that, professionals who have a personal profile photo in their house profile, they tend to get a few more clicks. People want to see who they are, engaging with. If you have a home renovation professional in your house, whether that's an architect, a cabinet maker, interior designer, garden designer, it's a very personal thing. You're coming into someone's home, they want to connect with you personally, and that's the first step of that, seeing your lovely, bright, smiling face, or how you want to brand yourself, as Katie rightly pointed out. So yes, definitely, once you've hired a photographer, get yourself some headshots as well, for sure. Any other questions, guys, from what we talked about today?
Suggestion: make a photo angle plan at the start of the project so you can collect the photos at the same angles. Thanks, Sophia. That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. Preparing for your shoot. Add that into your preparation list. Yeah. For sure.
Something else I'd like, just going back to the gardening question again, is when you're taking photos of a new garden, try to plant the flower beds so that there is some planting in there, rather than empty flower beds. So just because people want to imagine it, growing up, even if they're not mature, they can still imagine how that's going to look.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Exactly. And choosing the right time of day, if possible, to get that natural light, to get good lighting. So think about those things as well. Christine, I'm glad you've enjoyed the session. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. And I'm glad that you found someone on House to do a garden shoot. So yeah, I'd love to see those. I think your account manager might be Steph. So I will I will touch base with her when you've got the photos and have a look. All right, everyone. So I don't think any more questions are coming through.
Now just asked if you can send a recommended list of house photographers. We'll look into that. I'm not sure if there are so many that I'm not sure if we'll be able to send a list, but we'll look into it for you.
Yeah, we'll look into that for sure. Oh, guys, thank you so much for your words of thanks. I'm glad that a lot of you found this really informative. And yeah, thank you so much for attending the workshop today.
Yeah, I hope you found it useful, and we look forward to seeing your projects on House.
Yeah, and I'd love to see how many of you could get featured in the House editorial. That is your challenge. But yeah, thanks everyone for your participation. Take care, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.